Hi, I'm Jim Gary, and welcome to Patilipi's Workshop. I've spent quite a bit of time over the past few weeks bringing the Onan Emerald Generator back to life. My son Q was visiting, and he's adept with small engine repair, so I took advantage of that. But as you'll see, there were many other things wrong with the generator that we had to deal with. I couldn't find a single YouTube video that covered all the issues my generator had, so I put this rather long video together with chapters so you can skip to the part you need. It's a common generator in older RVs such as my 2000 Workhorse P32 base motorhome. And please be aware that I'm a biologist, not a professional mechanic or electrician. I'm showing you what we did, not what we think you should do. So please consult a professional before taking on work like this. And as always, I welcome any comments or suggestions you may have. And if you found this video interesting, there are links to my other videos in the description below. So please like and subscribe. Now let's get on with the video. I have an Onan Emerald Genset 4000 generator in my motorhome, and I believe the generator was manufactured in 1999 and installed new into my 2000 Workhorse-based motorhome. It's complicated to find the exact model number as referred to in the service manual, and it's not obvious from the model number printed on the generator, which in my case is 4BGEFA 26100P. But this tells me that it's a 4 kilowatt BGE model spec P. The spec letter seems to be important in servicing and parts. And it's a huge 2-cylinder generator, and it weighs somewhere between 150 and 200 pounds. My generator would start as long as I held the start button down, it would run. But as soon as I released the button, it would stop. Started. And there are several components that can affect this. The first is the carburetor and fuel supply. And if your engine starts and runs with the start button pressed down, you're probably okay and can continue with the electrical system of the generator. If it only turns over and doesn't start, you'll need to look at the fuel supply, fuel pump, spark plugs, and carburetor. Mine started and ran with the button pressed down, but it didn't run super well. My son was visiting, and he repairs and flips generators on the side. So we took the carburetor off and completely disassembled and cleaned it, vastly improving how well it ran. Onan has lots of warnings that you shouldn't service this carburetor, and they sell a replacement carburetor for only a little over $1,000. And then there are Chinese copies of the carburetor on Amazon for around $50, but reviews on them are mixed. I bought model 1460663 from Atras Sci-Part store on Amazon for about $54, and we ended up using the gaskets from it, and we also used it to figure out some issues with the original carburetor configuration, but we never actually mounted it on the generator. Mostly the original carburetor was just filthy inside, and the two emulsion tubes and the internal jets were kind of clogged up. As is typical in small engines, the internal jets aren't adjustable anyway, and we had absolutely no issues with this, and I'll show the carb cleaning process in a separate video. So we're going to take out the generator so we can get at other parts. We've decided that it's the motor's fine, but something is preventing the generator from firing, and if the generator doesn't produce electricity, it automatically turns off the motor. So that seems to be the issue. So there's 4 bolts that hold it together. There's one here, there's one here, and there's 2 in the back, and we've already got most of them off, so we're gonna get those off, and it's pretty easy, it looks like, down there. So we'll get that other one off and pull the thing out. We'll have to disconnect a few wires. 1, 2, 3. All right. Yeah.
You might have a heavy end.
Man. Oh, ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Oh,
Are you okay? I'm okay. You good?
yeah.
No rush.
Yep.
I'm totally all right. As long as you are. You good?
Yeah, I'm fine so far. So we got it, the outside cleaned up, and we took off the cap, and that's the brushes, so we're going to take those out. Try to anyway. They look fine.
One's longer than the other, but not wicked.
And there's the rings they run on. You can see the 2 slip rings in there, and they look silvery. They're supposed to look coppery and be very shiny. So there's an issue here with the slip rings. And if you look at them, you see the one on the left is almost all silver, maybe a little copper on the edge, and the other one on the right is kind of stripes of silver and copper. And they were both solid silver before we started cleaning them, so we're going to go ahead and finish cleaning them. So we've gone over it a few times with the equivalent to double-aught steel wool, but using the Scotch-Brite. And now we've got the gray Scotch-Brite, which is like triple-aught. So we're going to go with that one now. So go for it. What do you think?
It's so much better than it used to be.
Should I do a little bit more?
Can you do a little more on the left one and
Yeah.
leave the right one alone?
Okay, I've got it leaned to that should.
Let's call it a day.
So now they're nice and shiny. We don't think they're going to get much better, so we're going to go ahead and put the brushes back in and check it out. Okay.
Sounds better than we've heard yet.
This is the AC power output from the generator, so we're going to see if it's producing any power at all.
We're good.
When these generators start up when you start them, but as soon as you release the start button, they stop. It can mean that the oil pressure sensor isn't working. The main board, the control board on the generator, tests whether there's oil pressure. And if there's not oil pressure, it won't let the engine continue once you start it. So it lets you start it so it can develop oil pressure, but if it doesn't sense any, then it stops the engine. And I'd read a couple of things, seen a couple of videos where they just say you just unplug it and put this directly to the ground and that'll bypass it. But I decided, and that didn't do any good for me, so I decided to replace it. So I'm going to take this out, and it's a 1 1/16 socket. And this seems to be the common one used on all these Onan generators, at least the most common one. So let's take a look at the new one. And it seems to be an exact match. It's a smaller size socket though, that's interesting. But the threads look like they match. So I got it started by hand. It's pretty good to me, nice and snug. Put the wire back on it. And that's not a very snug fit. I'm gonna squeeze that with a pair of pliers. There, that's a good snug fit. So again, the setup, the exhaust comes out here. We don't have a muffler, so it'll be loud. This fan is blowing it out toward the open garage door, hopefully. And I've got the new pressure transducer in. I've got the wires hooked up. I've got a voltmeter hooked up an AC volt to measure the AC volts coming out, and this is without a load. Now it will bounce a little bit, but let's give it a try. Okay, so I'm convinced it's not the oil pressure transducer. So the bottom fits into little slots, in the top there's some couple of Torx screws to take out. So this particular motherboard has a plastic shield and it's got a clip. So let's take off the plastic shield, and that also holds the motherboard or the control board to the front panel here. So pull the clip off. Oh, I know, I've got to pull the fuse out. The fuse, it's a slow burning 5-amp fuse, and there's 2 spares inside here. So here's the motherboard coming out, and as you can see there, this is the actual switch underneath the switch that you see on the panel. And I can just pop this board out. So that's what the motherboard looks like. And here's the part number. So it's a 304 4901. And I was able to find that. These cost about $180. You can get them a little bit cheaper. So we've got the new motherboard. Let's get it in. Came with the diagram. And here's the board. And if you look, it's pretty much identical. That's pretty neat. So it's in. And it comes with a fuse. So I'm going to leave it with the fuse it came with. And I'll go ahead and assemble it with the plastic protector piece off camera because it'll take me a while. And I'll come back in a minute. So here's the last screw going in for this control board. Put this back in. There's two clips that fit on the bottom. I can see the gauge from here. It's reading 0 volts. So let's give this a quick start. So the final thing it can be, and it's what I suspected most because it was showing up as 30 volts instead of 110 volts coming out of it, is this. And this unit is the voltage regulator. And the common thing with the voltage regulator being out is you get odd voltages. You don't get 110, you get like 30 or 60 or something like that. So I'm going to take this out. And I've got another one. This isn't a really expensive item. This is $480. I believe. And if you look at it, it's got a big fat capacitor on it. I'll pull these two wires off and then just this plug here. So I bought this replacement. Just was on Amazon, but it was $450 or something around there. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Really an expensive item. And it came with these instructions. And it wants you to make sure your engine's running properly. And I know that ours is, so that's good. The best way to check electrical issues with the generator side is summarized above, with more detail and some great videos at flightsystems.com. They center around the connector that goes from the voltage regulator to the generator field coils, brushes, and slip rings. So as I look at this pinout, the number 1 pin is by that little plastic tab, but this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I've put nails in 9 and 10 because I want a good connection. So now I can clip my leads to this and see what I get. And it's looking like it's 34.8 ohms. And that's too high. And what they say in the instructions for the new board is it should be, if it's higher than 28, it's a problem with check the brushes, the slip rings, or bad connections. The most likely cause will be the slip rings, but we've already cleaned those. Check the brushes and connections, so I'm going to do that next. This is the new brush set I bought for the generator. And it does look like it's the correct part. And it's obviously got springs in it because they got a wire in here to keep the brushes in. So here's the new one. I wired it up already. It's pretty easy. And the thing about it is the brushes have really strong springs. There's a wire here they put in to keep them in place while you install it. Then you have to pull the wire out. And they're pushing a lot harder than my old brush springs. So I don't have a magnetic screwdriver, so I put some magnets on the Torx bit screwdriver that I'm using for these screws. So hopefully I won't drop the screw in there. So everything's in there. I got my needle nose pliers. I'm just going to try to grab that wire. And I don't want it to touch the wires on the stators or on the coils. So there it comes. I don't want to drop it either. There it comes right out. Okay, so that's nice. Now let's check the resistance and see if we're in any better shape than we were before. There we go. We're at 23.9, so that was the problem. So the old voltage regulator has a big capacitor here that's not connected directly here. It's connected through a black and a white wire down here. The new one has the capacitor built in, and so I think you just have to connect just the plug. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I got the new voltage regulator in there, so let's see what happens this time. So it's doing the exact same thing it was before, but now I've got about $600 worth of parts in it. But at least it's putting out the voltage. It's putting out 126 volts or something, so that's good. So I took out the replacement oil sensor, the one I bought, and I put the original back in, but I cleaned it out with some carb cleaner. I guess the one I bought was faulty. Let's just see what happens here. Can't beat that. So we are set. So I think the generator is working fine. It runs really well. So the carburetor rebuild or cleanup really helped. We ended up replacing the main board as well as the voltage regulator. But the main thing I think was we cleaned those slip rings and put new brushes in as well. When I put it back in, I'm gonna, right here I've got transparent tubing. I'm gonna use real fuel hose. But I'm not going to run the metal fuel hose anymore. And I want to put in a filter that I can see when it gets dirty. So this one's going to go in right about here eventually. So what I want to do now is I just want to reattach this motherboard, or pardon me, the front panel back. So these are those two wires that went to the capacitor on the old board that aren't necessary. These wires aren't necessary on the new board. I'm just going to make sure they're covered up with tape. So I've just got to get these clips to go in where they're supposed to go. This thing rattles around a lot, so you got to make sure you snug everything up. So here's that other screw. And then there's the circuit breaker off to the side here, and that needs to be flipped on. That's on. This is off, so it needs to be that way. And then there's another little 5 amp fuse right here. It's a DC fuse, and I believe that's just for the fuel pump. Now I've also got new spark plugs, and I bought the Onan spark plugs, but I'll put those in just before we put it back in. So I'm going to take all these fuel hoses off so I can just stash this out of the way until I can get somebody to help me put it in. And then this little clip here just goes in like that. Covers up the brushes. And I've obviously got a bunch of metal parts to put back on there, but again, I'll do that when I'm getting ready to put it back in. So that's enough for the generator for a while. I'm so glad. It took a lot of effort to get it running, but now it's running and seems to be running really well, so I'm happy. I'm so relieved to have the generator working again. And the reason you need to run your generator fairly often is that the slip rings will oxidize over time if you don't run it. So the brushes don't make contact, and this can lead to the voltage regulator board failing. I think I spent about $700 in parts, and I'm sure I needed the new voltage regulator board and the new brushes and springs. I'm not sure if I really needed the new control board, and I certainly didn't need the faulty oil pressure sensor I bought, so buyer beware. The main thing was cleaning the slip rings, replacing the brushes and springs, and replacing the voltage regulator board. The work we did on the carburetor made the engine run much better, and even though Onan dissuades owners from servicing the carburetor, we did it anyway, and we had good results. So I'm hoping to release another video soon that shows in detail how we service that carburetor. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Similar videos of mine are linked in the description below. Bye.